GTI, and the latest generation doesn't cost much more.
The KwaZulu-Natal town of Pietermaritzburg is also known as Sleepy Hollow, which makes it an unlikely home for one of the country's premier motorsport teams. But it's here in a downtown Maritzburg workshop that South Africa's latest Dakar Rally challenger is being built. The workshop is the home of Neil Woolridge Motorsport, which campaigns the top-flight Ford racing ranges in the local cross-country championship. Those ranges are at the core of the Ranger Dakar Challenger, which was created for international competition and is now undergoing final fettling, as Neil explains.
They wanted us to design and develop the new T6 Ford Ranger. They wanted a car that was capable of racing anywhere in the world. It had to fit the FIA standards and ultimately be able to go to the Dakar Rally. So we started that project in 2011, and about 6 months into the project, Ford South Africa then said, okay, well, we also need 2 new cars. So the Dakar project, or the FIA project as we call it, was put on hold for a while we developed the South African version of the new Ranger.
The Ranger campaigned in the South African cross-country series therefore became an integrated part of the overall Dakar project, and the vehicle shares many of the Dakar contenders' design principles. That includes the eventual choice of engine.
We had to move our goalposts quite a lot because we started off, we were going to be a diesel. We're racing with a diesel, but then the FIA regulations changed quite considerably. Also, the pricing of racing a diesel was really, really expensive. Ford are renowned for their V8 engines. They're arguably one of the best in the world at that level. It's cheap, it's reliable, it fitted the regulations perfectly, so we changed tact and went with the V8 route.
The South African Ford Ranger cross-country racer has been among the front-runners throughout the season, with consistent podium finishes almost the rule throughout. The local vehicle is very similar to the FIA spec Ranger, with the biggest difference being the solid rear axle and a slightly more forward position for the V8 engine. Former cross-country champions Chris Visser and Jaapie Badenhorst have had to focus on the local series, while also preparing for the unknown but certainly grueling challenge that is Dakar 2014.
We've been on the podium all the races so far thus far, but I must say, yeah, we're just unlucky the last 2 races, and so our luck must just change a little bit.
I don't think we could have asked for a better start to a brand new car, brand new project in the year that we've had. 6 events, 6 podiums, 2 overall wins. Unbelievable for a brand new car. So we're very fortunate in doing that.
While campaigning the local car so successfully in the South African series has been invaluable in the development of the FIA spec Ranger, the varying terrain facing the team in the South American-based Dakar Rally meant that the Dakar Ranger had to be tested in more representative conditions. The area southwest of Walvis Bay in Namibia offered the perfect setting and also provided Argentinian Dakar ace Lucio Alvarez with a real opportunity to put the Dakar Ranger through its paces. Woolridge was not convinced at first.
I really didn't want to go to Namibia. It was very expensive. Took a lot of time, 4 days to get there, 4 days to get back. I wasn't a great one wanting to go there, but in retrospect, when I look back, it was the best thing we ever did. The conditions in Namibia were unbelievable. And it was really, really a good test for the car. As I mentioned at the time, the car came through with flying colours. No major problems at all.
With just one event left in the local cross-country championship, Visser and Badenhorst are no longer chasing the championship title, but will now be focusing on ending the season on a high note, while teammates Lance Woolridge and Ward Huxtable will be campaigning the FIA spec Ranger as part of the final run-up to Dakar. While I'd been fortunate enough to experience the Dakar Ranger in Namibia from the navigator's seat, a pre-event test session of the local Ranger cross-country machine provided an opportunity to try out the racing bakkie for myself. The short blast through the sugarcane showed just how rapid the Ranger really is, with loads of power and response, even at my somewhat slower and less proficient pace.
The problem with testing race cars is that you sometimes get so involved in the whole process that you forget to do your links, and it ended up being a situation where we had to get to the airport with almost no time to spare. So looking at this footage now, it's quite interesting just to remember what the vehicle was actually like. Of course, I never got to drive the actual Dakar unit, but I did sit in it in the navigator seat. And trying to compare the two, you have to say that, as everybody in fact has pointed out, the vehicles are quite similar. The rigid rear axle means that the car does feel a little bit more direct, a little bit looser, but also a little bit harder maybe at the back. But it is such a nicely sorted vehicle. The gearbox is perfect, the turn-in is nice and sharp. It's a very, very exciting vehicle to drive. Although, if you had to sit behind the wheel for an entire 16 days or whatever it takes to finish the Dakar, I think you might get just a little bit tired.
Like the FIA spec version, the local Ford Racing cross-country racer is based on the Ford Ranger double cab and runs a stock Mustang-sourced V8 with loads of power and torque despite a restrictor. The biggest difference is the solid rear axle, which makes the vehicle less compliant at the rear but saves cost. The Dakar Challenger also carries more fuel.